Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Players Meeting, a Wind Dummies production. This is episode number 68. I'm your host, Smitty. Going to have a fun show tonight. We're going to bring in my longtime buddy, Kevin, two-time Babbit, coming off fresh off of his second MP55 World Championship. We're going to talk about the Pro Masters Worlds. We're going to talk about PCS Sula. We're going to look forward to the Krokhol Invitational at the world's best disc golf course, according to UDisc. And we're just going to chat and discuss and have some fun. So without further ado, let's bring in the man of the hour, Mr. Kevin Babbit. Kevin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fabulous.
Yeah, has it set in a little bit?
Yes.
How long did it take? Halfway home?
No, it was like last night after I was digging into Facebook stuff and texts and replying to texts and doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? The people that reach out to you and are like, I was watching you all week, and yeah, it's fun stuff.
Yeah, it was really fun.
So yeah, you and I talked a little bit already. Ronnie and I left bright and early yesterday morning, drove home, and as soon as I got home, I crashed out. And believe it or not, today I got up, went and played a round of disc golf with my buddy Brandon Dixon. I thought I would take a couple of days off at least. Well, I have a tournament this weekend that I'm running, so I needed to go at least check out the course. And I'm glad I did, because I had to go back with a saw. And we had a huge windstorm about a week before we went to Worlds, and I hadn't been to that course yet, and it completely blocked one basket, and there's a big branch hanging down in another, so I chopped those babies down. And then I went to my course around the corner here and chopped some more stuff down. So I've been playing disc golf and working till about an hour ago.
That's crazy. Is it the Toodle?
No, that happened a long time ago.
Oh,
it's the Cessna Classic.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. So yeah, man. So let's dig into Worlds a little bit. A few questions for you, and then kind of we'll just kind of go from there. So you scared me a little bit after the first round. I looked and didn't Barry came out firing, man. How many do you have you by?
2.
Oh, was it just 2?
Yeah.
No, that's not too scary then.
No.
But man, you reeled him in and saved the best for the last round, and what a banger that last round was.
Yeah, dude, that was I could spend a long time just talking about the setup to that and how that round flowed, and it's stuck in there really well. Of course, when you have 7 hours to drive home, it would get interrupted, but I literally was just going through that last round multiple times, because I keep getting interrupted, and I have to kind of backtrack and then go, okay, what happened here? What happened here? And it was just one of the more amazing kind of vibes I've had. Period.
Yeah, you slapped the crap out of them. That's the only way to put it. You went off, man. Did you leave any out there, or did you pretty much play clean all the way through?
Yeah, I missed on 17. I actually missed a 23-footer.
Oh, so you could have won by 6 then.
Yeah, actually, I was a little surprised I missed it, because I made all of those, and I was like, what? But I just over committed, and it spit out right side. I think those baskets a little interesting on the right side, but
they are. I felt like the bottom of it was a little bit skinnier, and if you hit it if you hit it just a little bit wide right, yeah, it just pushes the chains back, falls off.
If you're not like up in the full chain, if you got a lot of mine tend to come in a little low, and I think probably even left or right probably doesn't matter. That might be a little more difficult spot to grab on those baskets.
Yeah, but they weren't terrible though. They were. If you hit the pole, it was staying in. It seemed.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, I don't.
Sure. So, yeah, let's do talk about it a little bit. You told me you went 3 for 3 on hole 1.
I did,
which is amazing because that whole play, what is it, 330, slightly uphill, 335, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a little further than that. I think it's like a full 350 or 345, something like that.
And somehow you guys can always just lace your very first drive, and I always just shank that son of a buck, as you saw. But the last 2 rounds, I think I was just trying too damn hard off the tee on the first hole. The last 2 rounds, I just chilled out, threw great drives off both of them. But to get that thing, Joey says it's 340. But to get that sucker 3 times is amazing. And it looked like the last round, when you skipped it off of that ramp, it nestled right up there, didn't it? Almost to no-brainer putt range.
It was a drop in.
That's the way you want them.
Yeah, that was a drop. That one was a drop in. Actually, they all were drop ins.
All 3?
Yeah. Now, it's interesting because my first drive on the first round at BRP, the drive came out different than I was intending. My intention was to throw a pretty good sized flex at it. You hang it out on the left side, and then just have it come in, not a full flex, but then just kind of flatten out and maybe hook back in just to make sure I got enough distance on it. But it came out low. And but that shot, it came out low and kind of more flat, and it hit like 40 feet in front of the basket, but just skipped. It's got that slope. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I saw that, I said, oh, there's no need to fly this thing all the way there. You just do not need to do that. And so I just decided to repeat that shot for the next 2 and was fortunate enough to actually repeat the shot.
And that's one of the holes that you can actually get a little loose with your shot and still end up with the putt. I saw so many discs come through the trees on the right and hit and park, and people leak it out left and get in there and find a putt. But after that, dude, you better be hitting your lines, because if you're not, you're going to be in trouble. Hole 2, I found some trouble on that baby, as you saw. I said, an incredible par.
Yeah.
That hole is tough, man. And I think you parred hole 2, didn't you, in the final round?
No, I got it.
Do you go right side or do you go left side?
The whole thing about Blue Ribbon Pines for me was I played through in a practice round with you. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of re-familiar. I played it 15 years ago or something. And weirdly, it is pretty similar to what it was a long time ago. But when I played it through with you and Ron, I was not comfortable with that course in any way, shape, or form. There were multiple holes out there that I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to throw them. I could only, in our round, I didn't feel like I wanted to hang out on a hole and throw 4 drives. I couldn't do that at first because I didn't catch you until like hole 10 or something. And I couldn't do it at first because there were 5 people in every darn hole. And so I was just throwing 1 drive, maybe 2 if I kind of quickly do it. And the end result was I was not comfortable with that course at all. And it showed the first time I played it. But by the final round, I had completely decided on how to play that course. And on hole 2, I had committed to throwing a rock to the pin, the short pin. And I just did not care if it was left or right. If it was left, I kind of wanted to be left because I think the left side is a better route to go. But all I wanted to do was to be on that pin. And so the whole key is just getting through the gap. You get through the gap relatively straight, then you're basically on that pin. And in the last round, my shot leaked right. And so the left side wasn't really available, but that right tall hyzer was there all day. And that was just that was a high pig parked.
And I couldn't believe the 40s all went right intentionally, except for I think Kale went left.
I did see that. Kale went left. That's right. I was very surprised on that. Although didn't Dutch throw a forehand on that? No, he didn't.
Yeah, Dutch flicked and then flicked forehand, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So go ahead, back to the pig.
Well, just back to the pig. Barry was throwing a orange AVR for most of his short approaches. And as we got walking up to the basket, he thought my pig was his orange AVR. It was right under the basket. And he kind of walks up there and turns around and looks and has to backtrack and locate his pig. His disc was right there, but it was, that junk, those trees are really close to the basket on the left side. And he was just right there. But
yeah, I don't think we need to probably walk our way through the entire round, but at what point did you decide it's over? All I got to do is not do something dumb, and this tournament's mine.
I was working through that in my brain in the car, and because I couldn't quite figure out. Reality was it wasn't until 14's the second pond hole, right?
Yep.
I mean, reality was my brain didn't really convert to, oh, I've got this until that hole. Because
there's trouble.
that's just the way my brain was operating. I got a 3-stroke lead after, I don't know, I think it was like after hole 11, maybe. But my brain I wasn't checking scores at that point.
You knew though. You knew You're old school. You don't have to look at the scores. You knew exactly how far ahead you were. So after the drive on 14, I'm guessing you probably didn't attack the pin. You probably laid up to the left, over the pond to the left, or did you attack it a little bit?
Well, no, I just laid up.
Oh, just completely laid up from the beginning.
Yeah.
Pig.
Pig.
Pig, probably.
Probably so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, once you get through that hole, it's hole 15. Yeah, for you is easy. You're an assassin at hitting straight lines. You just didn't get it.
I was over on that hole.
Wow, pars though, right? Threes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably threw beat up rock down the pipe and ended up just a little bit short.
I could never hit that gap. I either two straight or two left.
I was right off the goddamn first tree twice.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
And then you go to 16, and that's going to be a par at worst, no matter what. That hole's
right. Yeah. It's not going to happen. It was over. Yeah.
Yeah. And 17 and 18, you can get a 3 every single time, no matter what, if you want it. But you had to lead, so you went for it just to grind it in a little bit, right?
That's right. I wanted 10. I wanted 10.
My man. So let's talk about the courses a little bit. We played 2 fantastic courses. I felt like they were both really good, and I'm guessing there's some people that didn't like them. People who rely on 600-foot power if there's any of those out there, big bombers. But, Johnny McRae throws farther than probably everybody except for, everybody in the MP50. He was in the mix. Joe Revere throws as far as any of them, and he was in the mix. So I think that overall, I think the courses played really well. Did you prefer one over the other?
I liked Kaposia better, just
Me too.
personally. Now, I shot better at BRP, but I liked Kaposia's challenge better more than than overall what BRP had. But they're both fabulous. I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Each of them have some fantastic holes, and I just think Kaposia's are just another tick more challenging.
They're way harder.
Those
first 4 holes at Kaposia are fantastic for starting holes. That first one you better get, which I never did. Hole 2, good gosh.
That's such an awesome hole.
That is pucker city. Do you know Clue birdied that twice?
I did not.
Yeah, two twos on that thing, which is
he probably threw I don't know. I'd be curious what he threw on it. He gets after it so hard that he might have thrown I don't know what he threw at that.
Thunderbird, I think he said.
Really?
Or a Mamba. He throws a Mamba a lot too. And man. Ronnie got it once too, and I think he didn't do so good the second time through. But
yeah,
that hole's, oh my gosh, you can hear your heart beating in your head on that hole because you're one degree off of disaster.
Yeah.
Hole 3 is no walk in the park. You got to get up over that dang hill and find a way to get to the green, which that hole should have played right to my strength.
Yeah, get up to the top, throw your forehand, call it good.
You'd think, right? And then hole 4, what an incredible hole, dude.
I think that one, I think it's wise not to go after that hole for many people, including myself. But I feel like if I had some more time on that sucker, I think it might be a little easier than I'm giving it than I at first glance.
Lucas wants to know if we thought or if you thought it was too tough of a course as far as elevation and the track itself for older players to get up and down. Was it too hard of a course for us? Or because there was nobody older than you. Their 55s were the oldest.
Right.
So there wasn't any 70s or 80s. But what do you think?
I didn't hear any. I didn't hear that. I certainly didn't think so. But Lucas is right. I mean, one of the reasons why it's a better course or a more challenging course in my mind than BRP is because of that very reason. Mm-hmm. And they're not just little rolling hills. I mean, there's some pretty significant climbs in there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure usually doesn't even matter what month. I'm sure usually in Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's not 88 degrees and 90% humidity.
Yeah, I think that's what added to the difficulty it was hot and sticky and it was tough. But I also think that if you're in shape and you can power through those courses, you should have a little bit of an advantage over some dude that's struggling to get up and down.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, I didn't see anybody on any of the lead cards that was struggling to get up and down those hills. Everybody up in the front was pretty much ready to go. Now, I do think that there's a couple parts at Kaposia that were really, really, really dangerous, man. Like the whole left side of hole 11, that was an accident waiting to happen. Wasn't that 11? Yeah, where if you go left and you just go straight down that hill, and it wasn't OB, so dudes are going to either have to abandon their shot or go down there. I had decided if I went over, I was abandoning my shot because I I don't think I could get back to the top and get into a good spot in one shot. So it was my favorite hole on that course, though.
Well, it's same for me.
That was a disc golf hole does not get any more awesome than that.
Really. It was a fabulous disc golf hole, and it matched with shots that I love.
Yeah. Well, you probably went what? Flippy something, boss. What'd you go with off the tee? Rock? I don't know.
Roadrunner,
flippy. Yeah. I flicked it to the top and then threw suspect down, and god dang, I love that hole. That was
it's a really nice hole. And even if you fluff it a little bit, as long as you're not hooked left, I mean, you still have a shot at getting it. So there's there's lots of spots where you can still try to get your birdie, and a really nice second shot can still get it for you.
Yeah, that's by far my favorite hole on that course, and I'm thinking Blue Ribbon Pines. What my favorite hole was. I'll let you go first because I don't want to steal it from you. If you had to pick one,
yeah, ticking through. I suppose it's going to be. It makes sense, although it's kind of lame that I'm picking. Really, it's the same hole at Kaposia, just flipped over at BRP. So what? It's 12.
Oh yeah, 12's a good one. Over the water.
Yeah, a little flexor over the water between the wickets.
Yeah,
and then approach to a basket that's kind of close to OB.
Yeah, that's a cool hole. A lot of danger to be had for dang sure on that one off the tee. I like hole 5 the best at Blue Ribbon Pines. I like the fact that you throw your approach first and then your drive from the fairway, and I think that
True. Yeah, it's a great hole.
I think it's interesting because the drive is really not that hard, right? Anybody should be able to hit that thing, but
that problem was my bogey the last round.
You never get to the same spot. Sometimes you're pinched left, sometimes you're right. You got to go through or around those trees. Sometimes you're flicking. And then we saw what happened to Joe in the finals. He was too far left.
Right.
And I thought he flicked that disc because we couldn't see. We were around the corner, but he didn't. He backhanded that sucker and Invisibranch in the water. But man, what a killer hole.
Did you think after you saw Schick flex a forehand off that tee, did you think,
I should have tried it?
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't think that at all because a couple reasons. I just think the backhand putter is just too easy. Just throw it at that tree and throw it at the right side, just let it fade over. But that forehand flex he threw on multiple holes is really technical. And I've known of Brad Schick for a long time. I've known he wins all the time. I know he's a stud.
Yeah.
But I've never seen him play, because honestly, in his prime was before video disc golf. And the amount of forehands he threw really surprised me. I had no idea that he's definitely forehand dominant. Anytime he could go that way, he would. So yeah, we talked our favorite holes on each course. Got to go to the other side.
All right.
Let's start at BRP. If you could eliminate one hole off of that course, what would it be? Mine's easy.
Probably the key hole.
I hate that hole.
Yeah, it's not worthy of a championship course.
No, and you see, what I do like about it is there's different ways to attack it. You see people gut shot it, just throwing it hard, hoping to either get through, or if they hit the stuff, they break on through. That's what you probably did, I'm assuming. Old rock down the pipe.
Yeah.
And then you see people doing what I did, which was that putter over the top. And
I didn't even know that route I didn't understand that route was there until I saw Barry throw it.
And I thought I threw that thing great in the finals, and I was 18 inches OB.
Right.
So frustrating. And then I watched Schick and I forget who the other one that did. One of those four did it. They just flick it right out the top of that gap and get out in the middle of the field, and who cares? What an idiot. Why didn't I do that? Right?
Well,
it's never going to be worse than a 3. There's no OB right. The OB's behind it and left.
I guess, but that's not the best way to birdie that hole. And you don't want to give up a 3. You don't want a 3 on that hole, man.
220-foot piece of crap hole. No.
You don't want it. You want to play that for a 3. And I don't like the idea that spike flick doesn't seem to me to be the most awesome idea to get it close, but
yeah, I didn't like that.
You're talking to a non-flicker, so
I didn't like that hole. It's by far the worst hole on the property, at least the ones that we played. And then what about Kaposha? Hole 14.
Oh yeah, I mean, I kind of like the shot, the gap shot. That's a fun shot for me to throw. Oh wait, 14.
14 is down after you walk the stairs of death.
Along the sidewalk.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a terrible hole, but do you know what they wanted to do there? They wanted to play that tee pad up to a basket behind 15's tee pad, so it was going to be another 2-shot hole. But they couldn't get all the tree branches or something cleared out, is what the rumor I was hearing. Which that would have been a tough hole. But
that'd been interesting.
I don't know if I'd have lived through 14 and 15 because I'm not in terrible shape, boy. But when I got to the top of 15, I was like, that was
I think 16 was lame.
Yeah, especially since I missed it every damn time.
Me too. That didn't help. What
I didn't like about it was you could throw a good shot
and you'd roll away.
And then somebody else would throw just a terrible shot and hit a tree and park it. And how'd you like to be left-handed on that thing?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, I think you got to have a flick for that. I think, even if you flip that around, I've got a flick for that.
And
it may not be great, but I could do it.
And just to punctuate how easy the hole was, Holly Finley aced it.
Well, of course she did. Yeah.
Oh God, we're terrible.
Yeah. She lit that up.
We are terrible. All right. So anything else about Worlds you want to talk about before we dig in?
Dig into what? Something else?
Yeah, the next part of our show. What's popping?
I do. The last round. I'll just share this. The last round was the night before. It was hard for my brain to decide kind of how to what my mental posture was. Was it, oh yeah, I got this, I'm on it. Was it, hey, you're playing a course like every other day, just go play the course. And ultimately what it came down to was, and what I came to a solid final, it was just, look, I feel really good about this course now. I know what I'm doing. I know what's going on. With 17 out of 18 holes, I was nearly certain what I was going to be doing off the tee. If stuff happens, you got to roll with it. But and so in the morning, every morning, before each BRP round, there's a disc golf course that's 8 minutes away. It's called Ham Lake. And so every morning before BRP, I would go to Ham Lake and do my warm up. and there's baskets there you could putt. So I love doing all of my warm up, all my prep somewhere else. And then I show up to the course and I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And I was able to do that both times at the last couple rounds at BRP, but mainly at that morning, it was just throwing the few shots that I knew I had to commit to at BRP, just throwing those shots, getting a couple dialed in, stretching all that junk, and then driving over there. And then once we were on the first tee, I just felt really good. And that doesn't happen all the time. But for whatever reason, that morning it was like that. And even though I had ended up with a bogey on hole 5 where I gave up I made 2 strokes up on Barry Schultz. I got 2 strokes on him after hole 4. I had 2 strokes on him. And then on hole 5, I gave them both back. And it didn't, I was frustrated, but I was really easily able to refocus and then get hole 6.
Which is not an easy game.
Which is not an easy hole. And that just got me a stroke back. And what little kind of hitch I had, I was right back in the swag. And that continued. And just interestingly, like on I mentioned in my post that things were going just a little straighter and a little further, and they were. And so that's really, it was really awesome. It was cool. And I think it's just a matter of a little extra focus. And I put on 16, that I got my destroyer probably at 22 feet. And that's, I was 35 and 38 the previous 2 rounds. And I got a hold of I thought I threw the other ones pretty well. So anyway, it's just, it's really cool to be able to throw that final round in that fashion. And it's going to stick around with me for a long time.
As it should. It's always awesome when you do your best, when your best is what's needed. And that's exactly what you did.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
That's exactly what you did. So Hans wants to know what you threw off the tee on 6. Boss.
Yep.
Boss to the top to a park job.
Yeah. Hans, it was actually, is that Hans you got me from that dude in Des Moines? Is that one?
Oh, so Hans gave you the disc.
He did.
There you go.
That's a true statement. Yeah.
There you go. I love that stupid tree on 6 that hangs across the fairway, right? Exactly where you. I mean, because is right where you want to put it.
I was that far from crushing it. I'll tell you that.
I love that. I mean, that's cool. That is cool. So some people might think it's lame and gimmicky, but I love it. I think it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes you think, and I can't throw. That hole doesn't allow me to throw what I prefer to throw, which is a flex shot at it. The only way I can get that hole is if I throw an Hans Coleman Heiser flip shot, and that's what I did.
Maybe that's why I've never got trying to flex it. Channel my inner Kevin Babbit. So, well, I don't know, Kev, but I think a 2-time MP 55 World Championship has to get you in the Kansas Disc Golf Hall of Fame.
Oh,
if I have a nomination or any say in it, I'm saying it because, I mean, get real. You've been one of the obviously one of the best players in Kansas for 20 plus years. It only seems like the right thing to do for a two-time.
I appreciate that comment, but one of the negatives on my end is, I do some stuff, but unlike you and a lot of other Kansas disc golfers who have done so much more than just play golf, I pretty much play golf. I'm a reasonably nice guy, and
let's not get carried away.
But other than that, so I just, you and Harvey and the other individuals who are all on there have done Those are all easily recognizable Hall of Fame dudes. But I appreciate it.
Well, you're in. I'm saying you're in. All right. Well, so we went a little longer than we should have went. Well, we could go on forever as far as I'm
Yes,
concerned.
right.
But we got to get on to the rest of the show. PCS Sula. You probably didn't watch much of it because you were teeing off a little earlier than me. But me, even when I was halfway down the field, got to sit and watch the entire thing and then come watch you play your last 7 or 8 holes. I watched a lot of this golf last week. I'll tell you that much.
So help me. What course is this for this tournament?
Yeah, you would know it. It's the one that has the.
It's the Halls of Valhalla.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
With the fjords behind it,
right?
And all that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's a really cool course. But ladies' side, here's our top 10. And this young lady right here, man, I couldn't be more happy for her. Evelina Salonen came from behind, and Kristen had the lead going into the final round, and Evelina just is on one, buddy. She might be the lady to beat now going into. She's taking this weekend off, which I think is really smart and really awesome. And then she's going to go into Worlds and then or European Open and then Worlds, whichever order they are, fresh. Man, I'm excited for her. She's making putts. I mean, go Evelina.
Yeah, it's exciting seeing her do so well. Is she the best driver in the women's field right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can look at the stats here.
I didn't understand. I watched her quite a bit in the 2 tournaments ago or something, and I didn't understand she had as good a forehand as she does.
She's good all around.
I don't know that it's Kristen's good forehand, but it's not that far out from that.
Yeah. I mean, she's good and she's rolling, and I love it. I love her attitude on there. And they did an interview with her, and I think what touched me, and I'm guilty as sin of doing this, but she said that they asked her about her missed putts and how she's fixed it and what it was like, which I thought was really kind of a tough question to ask her. And she's like, yeah, it's tough when you do that because basically you can't get away from it. It's on social media. People are sending you messages and whatever. And I've posted videos of her missing putts that I think are just impossible for somebody to miss. And yeah, man, hurtful stuff to her. And she just seems like such a nice, genuine, awesome, happy person. But to answer your question, Kev, she led the field in birdie percentage.
Yeah.
Led the field in circle 1 and circle 2 in regulation. Gained 11 strokes tee to green. So yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
By far. So yeah. So let's talk about a couple of other ladies. And if you didn't watch much of it, you might not know, but we've talked about Evelina there. That's who's on the left. And she's found a putt that's working for her, and she's repeating it, and she's doing it in stressful times. And, as well as I know that when the stress is on, sometimes the putt's the first thing to go.
For sure.
Real fine skill. But yeah, she's come in clutch. But Kristen, man, dude.
So what was the I mean, I noticed on the scores that she had a rough final round.
She just had a bad start. And I haven't watched the entire final round, but her headspace is not good right now. I watching her and listening to her when she didn't give an interview after the final round, but she did last week and the week before. I just feel like it seems to me like she may not really want to be there right now. And she's kind of, all of this is in her backyard. So I don't know if that's extra stress. I don't know if she feels like she has to perform better. She's letting people down. I don't know what's going on with it, but dude, she is not feeling disc golf at all. In fact, I feel like if these two majors weren't coming up back to back, I think she would be off the tour for a little bit and trying to get things going.
Yeah, that's interesting because it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like things are set up so well for her that she would just be dominating.
Yeah, I think I think as soon as we get through these two majors, I think she's off. I think she's done for a while. I think that when maybe when Throw Pink and the end of the year stuff rolls around, I think she'll be back. But I would hope that her sponsor, if she's still going to continue to be sponsored by Latitude 64, I heard that there's some other Estonian company that is now making frisbees, and this is a contract year for her. I mean, dude, maybe it's just too much for her to handle at this point. Maybe there's just so much going on.
Yeah. She probably has a lot more responsibilities than she ever did before.
Yeah. And it sucks because I feel like she is an awesome ambassador for not only the women's game of disc golf, but for disc golf in general. She just seems so genuine, and her interviews are always so like heartfelt, and you can feel like you can relate with her, and she's not trying to blow smoke up your backside. She's just really truthfully talking to you from her heart.
Well, she's got a maturity level that's there that you don't always find, and that's probably comes in part from being a mom. But yeah, she's as good a front runner as you can find.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know what the future holds for her. I just hope she gets whatever she needs to do taken care of. And if she's done with disc golf and she's happy with that, then I'm okay with that too. I hope she's not just playing because she feels like she has to do that. But whatever. Then we got this young lady right here, Paige Pierce. Finally, hopefully, maybe trending the right way. She still struggled a bit, but she was in the top 10 this week, so that's good. And I think that if she's playing well, I think it's better for the ladies' game for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was, what is it, Oregon, where she kind of came,
somewhere on the West Coast swing.
Said, hey, I can still play here, and that was super exciting. Unfortunately, I kind of feel like these European courses don't fit her game real well, but
yeah,
because she's so aggressive. But it'd be fabulous to see her keep moving up the leaderboard.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope
you'll certainly get a highlight putt or two out of her, no doubt.
Yes,
which is worth all kinds of screen time.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time when I didn't think we'd ever see a woman better than her, and then we had Kristen come along, and I didn't think we'd ever see a woman better than her. And there's one out there somewhere. There's some
right.
There's a 16-year-old girl that was like in the top 5 finishing out the PCS tournament. All right, let's switch it. Let's go to the men's side. This guy, no, he's not the next Climo, is a response to your text, chump. I know what you're trying to say to me. I know what you're trying to do. I said it last week. I said Gannon Buhr is the best player I've ever seen in my life, and I'll stick to it. The dude is amazing. Now, is he the GOAT yet? No, he's not the GOAT. He's got a ways to go. But Kevin, you haven't watched any of this probably?
What? Oh, of the PC? No, I did not. But I mean, I've watched Gannon Buhr light it up.
Dude, tune in, put it on double speed.
He didn't win.
Tune in, put it on double speed, and watch the last round.
Okay.
This dude made from 70 foot 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
Not throwing it up there, kind of trying to make it, banging it in.
Banging it in.
And Ronnie and I are rolling down the road, and this kid is clear across this stupid pond looking at this basket from OB. He had just went OB. And I said, Ronnie, what do you think? Make or miss? Oh, I don't think he's ever going to miss. Bang! Threw it right in, dude. This kid is doing things that are ridiculous. And you're right. He didn't win. In fact, he didn't even get in the top 5, did he? He tied for 3rd. Big old traffic jam for 3rd. But hole 16. Here's what drives me the craziest about this kid. You might think I'm a Gannon Burr fanboy, but I'm not. He pisses me off every tournament I watch. Not only is he the best player, but he's the luckiest player on tour also. Hole 16, shanks his drive right. It's going OB, hits a tree, safe. Throws again. Should be OB, safe. Throws out of bounds on the backside, takes a 6 on hole 16. Okay. Hammies, 3.
Oh.
Yeah, 3 strokes right there. Now, Adam did screw up 17 and give everybody a chance to let him crawl back in. He took a 5, where most of them, including Gannon, were taking a 3. And then Gannon trying to win.
Right.
Took a 5 on 18.
Right, sure.
So do you know what hole 18 is with that tractor?
I remember seeing the tractor. I can't remember the drive it requires.
Okay, 663 feet. Anthony Barella threw it over the green.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Stupid,
That
right?
is sick.
Yeah, and he's
He's
the one.
He's the one I wish would do it.
If I was the Disc Golf Pro Tour, that's the guy I'm hanging my hat on. Number one, he looks like a bad dude. You see him walking, you say, that dude's got swag.
Yep.
And then you see Gannon Burr walk by, and you're like, that pigeon-toed little turd is the best player in the world. And he is. There's no doubt about it. But gosh dang, Anthony looks cool. He throws shots that you just – this is the face I make. Every time. What just happened? But then he'll every event he'll do something dumb and just blow it. He'll build it up. Kind of like my week last week. So yeah, but let's talk about a couple of other dudes who aren't in this top 10. I'm starting to worry. I've been a Paul Macbeth dude for a long time, and I still think he's the GOAT. But I'm beginning to question if he's going to win.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, I think I don't know that that's old news though. I don't think that's new news. I think that's, I don't know, kind of old news.
No, well, maybe for you, maybe you're more of a realist than me, but I've been living on this fantasy that Paul was going to be healthy, Paul was going to come back, Paul was going to do it. And there's 7, 8, 9 holes at a tournament where you're like, yeah, baby, beast mode activated. Here we go.
Absolutely.
But then he
Peters
can't
out.
do it for like he used to. He just can't hone in. And Rick, gosh dang it, man. I'm a Rick dude. Rick's been my dude for a long time. I just like him on the course the way
I like Rick.
he's fired up.
What I like about Rick is how much joy he has for playing golf, and how much he's just a happy guy. You contrast that against Paul, and Paul's super serious, seems like 24/7, and pretty reserved dude. And I do like the fact that Ricky is. And I've seen him, like, I was at the Glass Bone DGPT event last year before it got kicked off, and he was just signing autographs and stuff. Even the 3 people, however many people were there, he was just having a good time, enjoying being part of the whole thing. And
right,
I think that's how he is all the time.
Unless
he's on the course,
right? Or if things are going south, he doesn't.
Sure, I get that.
But that's everybody.
Right.
He did a round table with Ricky or something like that on Joe Mez. It's worth a watch if you want to watch.
I haven't seen that.
Need something to watch. It's Rick and Ulibarri and Bradley Williams, and they're just kind of talking about their lives on tour. And I guess at one time, Rick and Brad were touring together. They were sleeping in their car, one car, and all they were eating was bagels and peanut butter. That's it. three times a day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's good. And they have Yuli come with them, and he's like, I'm not sleeping in the car. Yeah, but just to think where Rick is at now compared to bagels 3 times a day. And dude's probably eating filet mignon once in a while.
Yeah, he can do it.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. So, yeah, I would love to see one of these 2 dudes win one of the majors. I just think it's going to be tough.
Well, it might be. Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's going to be tough, but at one point in our disc golf viewing lives, it was one of these 2 dudes.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. Right on. So we've got Krokhol coming up, the #1 rated disc golf course in the world, and it is awesome, Kevin. It's
I remember,
beautiful.
I remember watching video of this last year.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And this is the point of the show where myself and the guests make our weekly picks. And I warned you ahead of time, so I hope you did your homework a little bit.
Done.
All right, good. And I'll let you know. Had Denise on a few weeks ago, and my stink almost won the tournament. And if my stink wins the tournament, or if your stink wins the tournament, you have to pay for the other guy's dinner. Okay?
No.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't say that.
Well, I'm holding you. It's going to happen.
Okay, fine. I'm going to stick with it.
And my stink dang near won it.
Yeah.
And then at Des Moines, my stink did win.
Oh,
so wow. I have to take Logan out to eat one night this week. I didn't get the chance to do it because obviously I was busy. So as the guest, you can go first. You can pick any of the 3 categories you want, and then I'll follow up. And then I'll go on the next one. So where do you want to start, buddy?
I'm going to start with who wins.
All right, you shine. Who are you going with?
Repeat, Ricky.
Okay, that's a good pick.
I'll tell you what, that course demands power backhands and power forehands.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Rick did win last year and was in control from the beginning.
Yep.
But I don't think he's
not jet lagged anymore.
Yeah, these guys are getting so used to going back and forth it doesn't even bother them. I'm going a different way. I'm going with the guy who I'm just waiting for him to have another breakout. think he's one of the best backhand throwers that we've ever seen. But after watching him in Des Moines throw some forehands, he's not right. So he's probably not the best pick. He was rubbing the old elbow after some hard forehands. But I went with Vinny.
Oh, nice.
So if he can just make putts.
There's a guy who I want to see win.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. You ready? I'm going sleep.
Sleeper? Okay.
So, a guy who's going to do better than his average finish. And if I don't win this, there's something wrong. This guy played pretty well here last year. He got 29th, which isn't awesome, but it's not terrible. But on the Pro Tour this year, he's averaging 52.5.
Oh, you're probably picking my guy.
James Proctor.
Oh, okay. Oh, James. Wow, that's a blast from the past. We haven't heard his name forever.
Well, he's going to definitely get better than 52nd place.
Nice.
So that's I kind of cherry picked it, but it's all right.
That's all right.
I need to get on a roll. I had a rough couple weeks here.
So wait a second. Where's the better than the stink or the sleeper has to do better than what?
Better than his normal average.
Normal average. Okay.
And I'll use Statmando to figure out your guy's average.
Okay. All right. Well, it's my turn.
Yes, sir.
Kevin Jones.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Yeah,
he played awesome.
He played great this last one.
Yeah, he looked good.
So maybe he's on an uptick.
Well, I thought that before, and then stung pretty good. Let's tell you what his average is. That's a good pick. His 33rd is his average.
Okay.
KJ USA, and that is one guy that when he's playing well and he's in the mix, disc golf is more fun to watch because that guy is fun to watch. He is emotional on the course, and I love it. Okay, last one, the stink.
I'm trying to decide if I want to deep six my idea here.
You're really worried about buying me dinner, huh? Trust me, there's a chance I'm buying you dinner too.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I'd have to spend another 10 minutes thinking before I could. So I had to stick with it. Gannon Burr. Yep. I need someone to root against this coming week. It's gonna be fun.
That is a tough stink pick for sure. I would never.
Yeah, but he does so well. It's gonna be easy to. He's gonna be easy to be worse. If that's your criteria.
If he finishes fourth place, he does worse.
I know.
But he's probably gonna win. You dingus. Okay, so mine's pretty bad, but not as bad as yours. My guy's average finish 13th this year on tour. So he's pretty good, really good. You and him have something in common. And he played like poop last week. The two-time defending world champion.
Oh.
Isaac Robinson.
Nice.
So
yeah.
But it's kind of like Gannon Burr, right? Who knows what's going to happen with him? So, all right, I got you marked down. I'll next week. Usually in this we share how I did against the guests the previous week, but I had too much going on last week, and I didn't even think about doing it for the tournament. So, right on. Well, that gets us to the final segment, Kev. Big Deal. Welcome to Big Deal, a segment of the show where Kevin Babbit takes a deep dive into things that everybody is talking about, whether they deserve the hype and truly are a big deal or just an overblown, big deal, bro. Here we go. I was there when this happened. You threw your shot a little bit long of where you needed to be. Easiest dadgum pitch I've ever seen in my life. It was like a 60-foot little pitch. You ran back and forth, back and forth. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to find a spot on the ground where you wanted to land the disc. And it wasn't easy with the shadows and whatever. Anyhow, you threw your shot. The thing barely came to rest. And this little pipsqueak marshal says, "Sir, that's a time warning. Gentlemen, will you please make note that he has been assessed a time warning?" This guy came from nowhere, dude.
Nowhere.
He came down the fairway you were trying to throw. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's where he came from, down that fairway. So here's the deal, Kevin. Was that a big deal for the rest of your round? Or was that like, yeah, big deal, bro, get out of here?
It was. It screwed with me. But that's me, I think. I don't think that's everybody's talked about this a little bit in one fashion or another, right? Calling, dealing with rules violations is stressful, and it upsets a card dynamic, and I don't like upset card dynamics. I like things calm, cool, collected, and I'm not a big kind of adverse to conflict. I'd like to avoid conflict when possible. And so you ingest a little conflict, and yeah, you might be able to get in my head a little bit. I don't know. I might be but in this particular instance, it just made me think about, oh crud, is some other marshal going to come down and I don't not know it. And then I'm dinking around with I'm in the shul trying to figure out whether I want this gap or this gap. And I take too long, and boom, I just lost a stroke or whatever I get the actual penalty. So it absolutely messed with me for the rest of the round. Now, I don't feel like it actually affected my play, like scoring wise, but it got in my it got in my brain. Yeah, for sure. By anybody. I don't I'm guessing I'm on the quicker side of moving things along when it comes to disc golf play. But in that instance, that was a problem. That was a problem location, and figuring out where it was took a minute. So yeah. I took a minute plus.
Minute 30, according
to
him.
Right. Plus.
Well, here's what I have to say about that situation. So it was a big deal to you because you were the one that had the penalty called. You're the one worried going on for the next half the course. That was hole 9.
Yeah,
the hardest damn hole in the entire tournament. That hole was hard. And that shot, as short as it was important to get it left or right half of that fairway, not in the middle, because that tree in the middle. So you had to be careful as to where you put it. And this guy was behind you, apparently timing you. I never saw a clock, but apparently. But to me, that was get lost, you little chump, big deal, bro. And I think a lot of that had to do with your card mates, in my opinion. There wasn't a guy on your card that round that was going to enforce or call you on a time penalty moving forward. Michael Infante instantly said, "I don't even know what that means, Kevin." so, I mean, what the heck? And you took it better than I did, or I would have. Because I would have said, I just waited 6 minutes to tee off. I've been waiting up there. Right. And look back there. There's not another group there. We just got here. And these other hacks in front of me who are left, right on this fairway aren't clear. If I pitch it to where I want and then I attack the green, I'm going to have to wait another 3 minutes anyways. I would have taken it way worse than you, because that dude, you guys weren't causing the backup. You guys weren't the problem. The problem was the dudes in front of you or the dudes in front of them. And it was that hole. That hole was so hard. The hole before it, really easy. Right?
Right.
So everybody's just
It
throwing over there, boom, walking up the hill, and then you literally had to hit a 30-foot, probably smaller than 30-foot. You had about a 20-foot window that could get you into a prime go time.
I did kind of, my brain was thinking about that and working through it. And my overall thought is, look, if there's not a stretch of hole in front of us that, in other words, our card is causing the backup, then why are we even here? Right? We're not, there's no issue here. We're not slowing things down. The pace of play is fine. Let the card manage the whole thing. Not the marshal shouldn't get involved. The devil's advocate in that particular instance is, even if, let's say, everybody's taking the same amount of time to play that hole because it's hard, it could very well be because everybody's taking over their allotted time to figure out what to do. So the only way to get people to get moving through in a reasonable fashion is to ensure that you're not playing that hole in a longer time than the rules say you allow. So if you actually enforce that if you just sat a marshal there and you're just moving people through, I mean, that's one way to make sure that that's not as a huge bottleneck, or at least as big a bottleneck.
There was a lot of moving parts on that hole too. You couldn't throw until the spotter in the landing zone told you to.
Yeah.
There was another spotter down the fairway that was communicating back and forth. Me out when I played it, because I was playing with some dudes that were spraying it worse than I was. And I laid up to the gap and I attacked on my third, and I saw it. It flexed around the corner and it hyzered left hard. And I'm like, oh, God, that's going to be hard to find. But before I could get down there and even start looking for mine, I had to stomp around in the crap right, help somebody else find theirs. I had to stomp around in the crap left and help somebody find theirs. I had to stomp back in the right side. That hole, whoo! I'm never playing that hole again, and I'm never going down those stairs of death again. I'll play that hole again. I actually liked that hole. I thought that hole was hard as heck, but
that'd be a sweet 1 to 3, man.
And you can 5 that hole every single time, no problem.
All day, every day.
Yeah, 5 is good.
Yeah, fine.
It's hard to tell yourself 5 is good on a 600-foot hole, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, right on. Well, our final thing, Kev, you got any shout outs to give?
Oh, wow. Man, I hadn't thought about that. Shout out to my brother. He's been my disc golf partner for a long time, and I missed him at Worlds. Missed him quite a bit this year, and I hope sometime in the near future he's back in action so that we can travel to some more tournaments. But shout out to Kel, great golfer, great dude, and as good the best travel companion you can imagine. Bros traveling, playing golf. It doesn't get better than that.
That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good.
I did have a great, house that we hung out with over Worlds. It was a great group of dudes, man. It's a spread of people, and a lot of different people in that house. Made for a lot of fun.
And another world champion, right? Didn't Eric win?
Oh yeah, Eric. Yeah. 2 world champions in one house. Everybody went to bed like at 9:30, dude. Dude, it's hilarious.
We didn't go to bed at 9:30 in the embassy. There's too much.
I bet you didn't.
Too much going on. Too much. Too much happening outside.
Yeah, I guess I can certainly appropriate shout out to Innova. I've been with them for a long time now, man. I've been from 2000, I think. There was a window in there where I wasn't. I threw a defender for like a year and a half. Got an ace with one. But shout out to you, man. It was great seeing you up there.
Thank you.
All your positive stuff is always really freaking awesome, man. I love our banter. I love going back and forth. It's good stuff, dude.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good stuff. Right on. And I got to give some shout outs. Dude, I met a lot of cool people. And if people watching have not played a world championship, you absolutely have to at some time, because you meet so many interesting people from all over the world. And then the next time you see them, it's just they just become your friends. So like Kenneth from Norway, played a practice round with him, played around with him. Johan from Sweden. In fact, he lost his birdie bag the final round in the rain, and I tried to give him one out of my bag because I had an extra one. And on the way home, he messaged me. He's like, "Thank you so much for being so kind. If you ever come to Sweden, you have a bed at my house."
That's great, man. Wow.
Told Ronnie, I'm going to Sweden.
Sweden, right?
And I played with Luca from Germany. I played with him in the Lids round. That was a blast. And
nice.
Dang it. The guy that got second, Anders. I played with him. Wow. That guy could pump a disc. Just fun stuff, meeting all those people. And then not only those guys, but all the old guys that you've already known and played with many times, like Chris Sprague. I don't ever see Sprague, but I got to play around with him.
That's awesome.
Clue. I haven't played with Clue ever, but I've known who he is, for a long time, and I got to play around with him. So that was fun. So yeah, man, just all the new people you meet and all the old people that you rekindle with. And then the final thing I have to say, and it's not a shout out, man, it's kind of a sad moment, but while we were gone there, we lost one of the OGs of disc golf in Salina. We lost Clint Donaldson.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
He passed away last week. So I'm thinking about Scott and Shelly, and
yeah, right.
I know that's a hard thing to go through. So
yeah, out to that family. That's I remember Clint, man, from back in the day. Saw him quite a bit back then when I lived in Emporia. That was a regular stop, of course, Salina. So
yep. Yeah, he lived in he and Shelly had moved to Kansas City about I think 8 or 9 years ago. So I hadn't seen Clint in a long time, but he would still always jump onto my Facebook page and talk smack on me and say something. So he was a good old boy most of the time. So anyhow, well, we made it, and I guess we'll have to meet in Emporia somewhere so you can buy me this Gannonburg dinner. I'll be in Emporia next week. I'm going to go down at least one day and watch the Junior World Championships.
Oh, nice.
So, dude, Lucas and I went to Tulsa last year one day and watched the kids play. And
yeah.
Oh, man, everywhere you look, you just see these little micro versions of professional disc golfers and incredible form, both spins, zero fear of anything.
Right.
It is just.
I see more and more videos of kids throwing. I'm like, they've got like twice as good as form than I do. And they're just good. I saw some 5-year-old just today. I saw some 5-year-old that had your classic pro form. I was like, oh, he's throwing 360s. and they were perfect. I was like, are you kidding me?
I'll kick that kid's butt if he wants to smoke. All right, dude. Well,
all right, man.
Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, for sure. For sure. So later, everybody. See you next week.
All right. See you later. Have a good one.